Hey, what's going on? This is another episode of the Reporter Vlog News on a Friday afternoon. It's pretty much going to be a pretty heavy Friday as far as the story. So, matter of fact, the fresh hot stories for a change. But it's a pretty heavy Friday today as far as these stories. So, and let's get right into them. All CNN. All CNN. Any, many, mighty, mo. Okay, Don Lemon, former CNN reporter turned independent reporter. Don Lemon got arrested. Yeah, I think on Thursday. Yeah, on Thursday. Got arrested on Thursday and for federal charges. Uh, pretty much trumped up charges with the emphasis on trumped up charges. But let me get right into the story because the story explains a little bit more better than the commentary. Of course, this is brought to you by CNN, a place where you used to work at. The unlimited taken into custody. Okay, like I said, this is brought by CNN with the publisher 52 minutes ago. The publisher being Brian Stelter, Pearl Scannell, uh, Scannell, Hannah Rabinowitz, and hold on just a minute. Rabinowitz and Liam Rowley. Okay, journalist Don Lemon in Florida. In John Lemon in Georgia, Ford taken into custody after Minnesota church protest. Okay, two independent journalists, Don Lemon, and Georgia Ford have been arrested in connection with a protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lemon and Ford were mm, two independent journalists, Don Lemon and Georgia Ford, have been arrested in connection with a protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Lemon and Ford were live streaming as dozens of anti-immigration and customs enforcement protesters rushed into the city's church on January 18th, interrupting a church service and leading to tense confrontation. Let me read the story before we start commentating. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Friday announced the four people have been arrested in connection with the coordinated attack at the church. The other two individuals Bondi named were Tahern Jane Crew and Jamelo Lydell. Oh, pop up ads. Joke. Jamel Lydell Lundy. Court records related to the arrest were not immediately available. Lemon's lawyer, Abby Lowell, told the CNN that he is being charged with two federal crimes: conspiring conspiring to violate someone's constitutional rights and violating the violating the FACE Act. Woo, man, anything which prohibits the use of force or threats to intentionally interfere with someone's expressing their First Amendment rights to practice religion. Are you serious? The practice religion. Them and the former CNN anchor who now hosts his own show on YouTube and other platforms is expected to appear in federal court in Los Angeles on Friday. He was in L.A. to cover the Grammy Awards and was arrested at 11 p.m. local time in a hotel lobby in Beverly Hills. More than 2 dozen agents from Homeland Security Investigations and FBI arrested him. According to the law enforcement source familiar with the operation, his case is being led by HSI. Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutional protected work in Minnesota was no different than what he has always done, Lowell said. In a statement Friday morning, the First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role is to shine light on the truth, hold those in power accountable. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed two peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time and attention and resources to arrest, and that is the real indictment of the wrongdoing in this case, Lowell added. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges rigorously and thoroughly in court. Lemon has repeatedly said he was present at the demonstration as a journalist, not as an activist. In video of the episode he posted on YouTube, Lemon said, "I'm just here photographing. I'm not part of the group. I'm a journalist." Gordon made the same points on Facebook live stream when federal agents arrived at her home early Friday morning. This is all stemming from the fact that I filmed protests as a member of the media. As a member of the media. Ford said before he or she surrendered to agents. We are supposed to have a constitutional right of the freedom to film, to be a member of the press, she said. I don't feel like I have my First Amendment right as a member of the press because now federal agents are at my door arresting me for filming the church protests a few weeks ago. Oh, man. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison in statements that the arrests are deeply troubling. And in Minnesota, we do not treat journalists like criminals for doing their jobs. No one should be arrested merely for holding a camera, asking hard questions, or telling the public what you have a right to know. Ooh, man, oh man. I don't read the rest of his article because first story is pretty much the hot story. But this is the first example of what the administration is all about, and that's taking the First Amendment rights away. Because the one thing about journalists, journalists exposes the wrong, and that's what happened here. They ain't no look at the wrongdoers, the soldiers that are under the command of Holman and Trump. They're gonna look at the journalists. That's the problem. They like I say, the journalist exposes the dirt, and that's what Don was doing. He got too close to the dirt, doing his thing. Man, you see, let's go back to that paragraph. Where is that paragraph? Yeah, here's the foolishness. Attorney General Pam Bondi on Friday announced that 4 people have been arrested in connection with the coordinated attack at the church. The other 2 individuals Bondi named were no, I didn't want that. Court records related to the arrest were not immediately available. Lemons lawyer Abby Lowe. Let's see. Abby Lowe told CNN that he's been charged with 2 federal crimes: conspiring to violate someone's constitutional rights, and yeah, and violating constitutional rights and violating the FACE Act, which prohibits the use of force or threats to intentionally interfere with someone's expressing their First Amendment rights. Oh, jeez. The hypocrisy is flowing like milk, and especially in this situation. Especially in this situation, like I said on my previous episode, it's something. It is something. It is something how people remember the law when wrong is when the Trump agenda is involved. It's somehow that is how people all of a sudden remember the law. How the people remember the law when the Trump agenda is at stake. Man, this is some crazy garbage right here. Yep. Yeah, they trumping up any charges on Don Lemon conspiring to violate someone's constitutional rights and violating the FACE Act. What was what do you think? I don't know what they thought what the federal agents were doing. Man, man, here are federal agents attacking the inside of a church, and Don Lemon's the criminal for exposing them. See, that's what it's all about. That's why Trump cannot stand reporters because they know the truth, and that makes you awfully dangerous when you know the truth about somebody or something, some situation. You become annoying. You become a nuisance. It is what it's all about. Don was right in the midst of it. He knew what was going on. He was exposing it, but they arrested him. Pretty much, let's put it like they arrested him because he got too close. Man, I swear we living in an age where right is wrong and wrong is right. It's because that man in office. Once he said, I think Don Lemon needs to be arrested. They say, he's in custody. Oh, I swear you got some people walking around with no minds of their own. I swear, if you, it's getting to a place now, but if all Trump got to do is tell him, uh, put up a flag of a clown in their front yard, and they would do it. Dress up as a clown in their front yard and do a dance, and they would do it because there is no mind. Because some people, pretty much his fan base, has no mind of their own. Man, well, everything he says, all you gotta do is say a word, and they'll do it. Especially his right hand people, his so called team. It's like a mafia boss. It really is. All you gotta do is say a word about Don. Next thing you know, he's arrested. When all he was doing is exposing the truth, exposing the truth. And somehow people that stand on truths are crazy, and people that don't see what's going on are patriots. Make that make sense. People don't see what's going on. People that go along with the program, they're patriots. But people that stand on truth and know what's going on, they're not patriots. They don't love the country. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Ooh. Violate someone's constitutional rights and violating the FACE Act, which prohibits the use of force. What? That's the thing right here. What do you think them federal agents were doing? They didn't knock on the door and can we please come in? If we want to call somebody violating some constitutional rights, it was the agents. That's the reason why Don got arrested. Anytime you want to arrest somebody and do whatever or keep sound somebody's voice, which is what this pretty much is, sounds in somebody's voice. You know you're wrong. Anytime you got to keep something secret, anytime you got to sound somebody's voice, you know they're hitting home. That's all it's to it. You know they're hitting home. You're getting too close to whatever you stand for, you know it's wrong. Anytime you make up trumped up charges, goofy charges like the FACE Act, when you pretty much got the agents pretty much violating that act, or you pretty much got ICE pretty much violating that act. But here's two independent journalists. Man, but this is basically a shot at freedom of speech. Like I told Monet on my previous episode on TikTok, you journalists better start fighting because they are doing a serious attack. This is a warning shot right here. There's a warning shot. Yeah, like I said, it's a warning shot, but I don't want to stay on this story too long because I want to try to make this a triple L. Gotta keep it moving. But man, you got any questions on this story? Or the other, pretty much this story what I've read so far, just drop them in the comment section on this in this episode. And I'll pick them up. Pick them up. Okay, the next story. But man, this is a joke. Interrupting a protest. It took 2 dozen, sent 2 dozen agents from Homeland Security and the FBI to arrest them. And here's pretty much my last word on this story. The perfect paragraph. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed two peaceful protesters, Trump Justice Department is devoting its time and attention and resources to this arrest. There's the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case, Lowell add. Because they're not going to investigate them two unfortunate deaths of them protesters, Pretty and Good. They've been they just been they've been looking at Don and waiting for him, waiting for any excuse to try to silence his voice, and they got it. Anything that goes against the program goes against the program. Well, let me move on. Hold on, I'm gonna cut it off right here. I'm gonna see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cut it off. Right. I got another job to do. We just got one episode in.